Okay, there's so much to hear. You guys, I mean, they have to know that what Gabby is, all these different jobs and coming out of FIU. I mean, this is so exciting, Gabby.
All right. All right, Kate, let me start. Okay. Let me introduce our guest speaker today. So you guys know this, but this is kind of for the record. Um, Gabby is a graduate of FIU, and I met Gabby in my Multimedia 1 class, and I tend to try and hire assistants or people that I'm familiar with that can stomach me and listen to me talk on, and that our personalities mesh. And Gabby and I totally hit it off right away. It didn't hurt that she was a superior student as well. So I was fortunate also that my boss understood that my assistants were really there more for professional development than really to help me. So that kind of helped also. So Gabby worked for me for about 2 years. And again, she played photographer and helped and created flyers and stuff like that. And besides that, she supported the classes, which I think really, helped her out a lot. So she was getting ready to graduate, and I really didn't want to lose her. So I went to talk to my boss, and I said, can we switch the job from graduate, from part-time assistant to graduate assistant? And what that means is you go to grad school, and you get paid to go to grad school, and you get to work for the school for 20 hours a week and get paid for that as well. So I had told Gabby, listen, you keep looking for a job, you get a job, you go. Don't worry about me. So, you just go for it. And Gabby said yes to being the grad assistant. And then about a week later, she tells me that I'm going to get a call from the news director from the Gainesville CBS affiliate. And then the rest was history. Gabby got the job, and she worked as a reporter in Gainesville for about 2 years, maybe. For 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
2 years. And then is now for the last year and a half, maybe, or so, now works for Spectrum News in Tampa, which she's going to explain all this stuff to you in her journey. And honestly, I know I'm recording it and other people can hear this, but we did save the best for last. And I'm happy first time back. You even have Alfred and Lilium in on the call here, just popped in. But without any further ado, please welcome Gabby Arzola.
Did you forget my name, Jay?
Oh, no, but I see now that you're going with Gabrielle on your cast and not Gabby, which I'm guessing might be more their decision than your decision.
Yeah, definitely their decision. Actually, not even their decision. It's the girl who helped me get this job. She's like, Gabby's kind of casual. You should change it to Gabrielle. And I was like, I don't even know how to say Gabrielle appropriately. So here we are, Gabrielle Arzola. But anyway, thank you, Jay. Thank you for having me here. It's kind of surreal being in this position because I really am not that much older than the rest of you guys. I feel like I've been doing these classes yesterday. So, I feel like I'm probably the closest version to your future self, like in a dream, you see like an older version of you. It's like, I'm you in the future. That's me. I'm you in the future. So I am really here to help you with whatever you guys need, I'm about as Miami as you get, born and raised in Miami, never left my house. I live 7 minutes from the main campus. My parents still live there. I'm there at least 2 weekends a month because I can't ever leave them for too long. So yeah, it's really been a journey for me. I graduated from Miami-Dade College, Kendall campus, was in the newspaper there, then went to FIU. And, I think everybody that goes to a commuter school is kind of like, what am I doing here? Is this the best thing for me? Everybody has these college experiences, and I'm here like going back home to mommy and papi, and everything is kind of the same. But I think it is really what you make of it. And really, FIU was just an amazing experience for me that gave me a lot of opportunities. I know that it's really different now because of COVID, but it still is what you make of it. I see some incredible reels coming out of colleges that don't have the resources of a big college, or like a heavily funded, program or anything. I mean, I'm the best description of that, so it is what you make of it. So I'm so happy to just help you guys out with whatever you need. So journey. So I don't know what year I went to FIU. I graduated in 2017, December. So I'm 25 now. I was just a little over 21 when I was still working with Jay. And like he said, I had this whole master's program already in line for me, already paid for, and still getting paid to work with Jay. I mean, super amazing, very cushy. School was never difficult for me. I always enjoyed learning. And I mean, it was close to the house and I was with Jay. So what better opportunity? But there was always something in me that was just like, let's just give this a shot. And Jay was really, a powerhouse for that. So I made my reel. Most of my stand-ups were in the main campus at FIU, like making up random things, like I remember doing a stand-up at Wells Fargo saying like, the FBI says something about like the chip in the card, and I was at the ATM in FIU just making something out of nothing. And it just kind of has to do with my hustler spirit too, of just wanting always for more. So yeah, like he said, I got incredibly lucky. And I got 2 job offers really within the week that I was looking, which is non-existent. I mean, it normally takes months, if not longer. And it's just sending out a demo reel to a black hole and hoping just something comes back. So it really didn't take that long for me. Excuse me, I have emails still technically working, but we're all good. So within the week, I got 2 job offers, one in Fort Myers and another one in Gainesville. And Fort Myers was amazing because I don't know if you guys know markets, number 1 is New York, second is LA, and all that. Smaller the number, higher the market. So Fort Myers is market number at the time was market 61, which is like a really good medium market. Normally it takes people maybe that's their second or third market to get there. And I was able to get a job offer there right off the bat because I interned there that summer with the help of FIU through the Scripps program. So I got the job offer there, but then I was also speaking with Gainesville. And eventually when I got the job in Gainesville, that night before they offered me the job up in Gainesville, I declined the job offer at Fort Myers. And I remember like if it was yesterday, I was in the hotel room in Gainesville. I didn't know if I was going to get the job. I didn't know if I was going to like the guy. I didn't know what the heck I was getting into, but something told me that even though I knew Fort Myers, even though I knew the people in Fort Myers, the whole station already, it just wasn't going to be the right opportunity for me. So the next day, I do the interview in Gainesville. And he offers, Andy, my news director, offers me the job that day. I take it that day because I didn't really have any other option. I was just like, well, I just threw my other option out. And so I went from 61, which is Fort Myers, to 161, which is a huge jump. But I really wanted to find a way to, one, learn. If I mess up, it's going to feel a lot less harsh messing up in an environment that has everyone still learning together. Everyone's still, cutting their teeth and learning alongside with you, as opposed to a Fort Myers where you have people, that's their second, third market. They know what they're doing. They're a lot more experienced. So yeah, I went to Gainesville and I didn't regret it. It was the best experience there until I hit 1 year. Now, when you're in a small market, if this is something you guys want to do, a lot of people move around after 1 year. They either transfer to a sister station or they just get out of the business and go somewhere else because this job isn't for the faint of heart. But so after 1 year, everybody starts moving. So little me, okay, I'm in Gainesville. I didn't think Gainesville was going to be that bad because I was like, oh, it's UF. Like, how bad could it be? Well, UF is this, and then like this is Gainesville, and this is cows, and this is the school, and this is where you report, not the school. So it was like a total fish out of water. I mean, I visited, rural places, but I never stayed there. And when you have a neighbor that's 2 miles away from another neighbor, it's a whole different experience. I saw a wild deer. I FaceTimed my mom when I saw this deer, like not in a zoo, not in a cage, just roaming. It was wild. So it wasn't a surprise that people would leave after a year. So I hit my year and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no backup plan. I don't know. Should I leave? Should I transfer? What should I do? So always, you know, kind of like what I said with my hustler spirit, I always try and find information, try and see if I can pull something from someone else's journey just to kind of see what I should do. So I went on the internet and I'm looking up station bios. I don't know if you guys do that. I like look up reporters and see where they went to school, you know, where they were. And all of a sudden I go into Bay News 9 and I see this girl named Angie Andrews. And it says, worked at CBS 4 in Gainesville. And I was like, what? You know, like that never, ever happens. You know, like how can I find someone that worked in not only Gainesville, but the same station in Gainesville? So I had no idea who she was. Nobody that worked in my station knew her because they were all somewhat new. So I was like, okay. I sent her a message on Facebook and I'm like, hi, I don't know who you are, or rather I know who you are, but you don't know who I am. I kind of just want advice because I have no idea what I'm doing. Like I'm here like grinding it out in Gainesville and I'm being paid horribly. I'm like away from my family. Everything is kind of miserable because you're just kind of learning and you feel like you're like this diamond in the rough and you're just roughing it out with everybody else. I don't know what to do. Please help. So after 3 days, I was like, oh man, I scared her. She didn't respond. I was freaking out. I was like, well, okay. Well, I tried, I guess. Like, at least I don't know her. A couple days later, she sends me a message back. Oh my gosh, I just came back from vacation. I'm just now seeing this. She's like, call me. When somebody says like call you and like throws you a phone number, like your heart falls to the floor, you're freaking out, you don't know what to do. So I call her and I was like the most nervous. I remember it was like 8 o'clock at night, like after a long shift. I'm there sitting by myself in my lonely little apartment. And I'm like, hi, is this Angie? She's like, yeah, girl. Hey, how's it going? We talked on the phone for like 3 hours, just about random stuff. I mean, that was her place before Tampa, you know, which is also really rare. No, normally people don't make that massive jump from 161 to Market 11, especially like that. So she kind of then became a little bit of a mentor to me. So every so often I would send her a package that I would do and say, hey, what did you think of this? I really liked it. What should I change? Oh, so on the phone, she told me, don't break your contract. 1, it's frowned upon. 2, you can spend that year cherry picking what you want to do to create the best reel possible. So it's always just about learning and growing and really making the best out of the situation, even though you don't really feel comfortable in it. And she said, just grind it out. It's going to go fast. It's going to be gone before you know it, and see how it goes. So I did. And like I said, I'd send her my stuff. She'd give me some critiques here and there. And then I want to say about 2 months, a little over 2 months before my contract ended in July, she sends me a call and she's like, hey, Gabby, I just wanted to let you know that I saw a package of yours that you posted on Facebook and I thought it was great. I was like, oh, why, thank you. That's very nice, yada, yada. And she's like, so I sent it to my news director because I wanted to hear her thoughts. Oh, by the way, I got promoted and I want you to get my current position. And I was like, oh, okay. Like it went from like 0 to 10,000 so fast. And it's just one of those things that I would have never expected this to happen. I never contacted her thinking that I would go to Tampa. I mean, honestly, in my trajectory, what I initially thought what I wanted for myself was like, if I do really well in Gainesville, maybe I can go to West Palm. And then from West Palm, that's a feeder station into Miami. And like, maybe that's something I can do. Obviously, thrown in the trash. Now I'm in Tampa, you know, so right after the news director saw that package, she wanted me to apply. And within 2 weeks, wow, I got the job, and they didn't even see my reel. They're like, hey, so you got the job, but can you send us your reel? They didn't even see it. So that just comes, I mean, it's such a rare situation. I feel like I've just had rare things over rare things, but it's just being at the right place at the right time and being prepared when the moment comes. I saw something actually in Pieology by FIU. I don't know if you guys know where it is. It's like this make your own pizza spot. And it said, the more I practice, the luckier I get, which I thought was really funny, because does it have to do about luck, or is it just always preparing and then just being ready when that moment comes? And I think that's kind of just how I've somewhat lived my life since leaving FIU. You know, I'm only 25 years old. I don't know anything. And somehow I've managed to be in this lovely market with this nice apartment, and I have a dog. Oh, I found my dog in Gainesville. That's another story. I was doing a story after Irma to find flooding, and I see this dog like trapped behind a fence, and like Sarah McLachlan came from the sky, and I rescued this dog that's now 10 pounds overweight, but he wasn't at that time. So I jumped 2 fences to save him. I'll show you a picture later. But, you know, so it is what you make of it. So that's just kind of been my journey. I'm in MMJ here for 4 days, and then I am the live crew Sunday mornings. So that wasn't originally the shift that I had here. My first shift, I was off Mondays and Tuesdays. To give you an idea of like the kind of sacrifice it is, you know, you don't have weekends, you don't have holidays. If you do, they're sparing, they're sprinkled along. So yeah, so I'm dayside, and I am the general assignment MMJ reporter. So it's kind of my job to see what's going on specifically in my area. So it all goes and plays out of Tampa, but they section out reporters because this is such a large demographic. We get literally under Citrus County. So it's like, if you think of Florida, right underneath Ocala, that's where we start. And it goes all the way down to hitting Sarasota, and it goes all the way inland right before Orlando. So that is our entirety of the Tampa market, which is why it's Market 11, because they just get so many people. So they have me based in the Manatee, Sarasota area, just because if there's breaking news, I'm available to get there a little bit faster. But I report everywhere, from all the way up near Ocala to inland, nearly hitting Orlando, to Sarasota. So I put a lot of miles on that work car. But it's a great gig. It's a great gig. So dayside, 9:30 to 6:30 generally. I wake up at around 7 o'clock every morning to find a pitch, because that's one thing that I really had to learn, was these pitch meetings are brutal. But yeah, so it's just been a wild ride. I've been here, I'm going to hit 2 years now in June. And it's a 3-year contract. So I still have about another year left. And that has been my journey from FIU to now where I'm at now. And it's been a wild ride, but really, I mean, I'm not here to tell you like my journey and what I do every day. Like, if you guys are interested in that, you can totally ask me, I'll answer it. But, you know, the biggest thing of FIU that really helped me was just having people to ask questions. People can lecture you all day about whatever they do, and it sounds glamorous. I was looking at Kelly's not that long ago, her recording on your YouTube, Jay. And I was like, she mentioned briefly, like, yeah, like I'd look over the reports and they'll be doing my hair and makeup. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. I did this myself. So, you know, I mean, it's just funny how there's so many segments to this job, but really this, like what I'm doing is probably the closest on what you get if you were to meet any sort of somewhat newer journalist, especially in markets outside of Miami. I've learned that Miami is like its own little bubble. And it's very different outside of that. So in a good way, like it's not bad, it's just different. So yeah, so that's me. And let me help you, please, and ask whatever questions you want, you know, anything that you think you'd need. I know a lot of folks don't really want to go into news anyway, maybe work behind the scenes, because I have to do a lot of that. I shoot, write, edit, host, all of my stuff. Before this, I sent in a package to be played at 5 o'clock. So, you know, I'm here editing through Premiere, which Jay first introduced me to in our production class. I still do Premiere and I'm like a whiz at it. Now I'm like giving other people tips on how to do Premiere, like our photographers how to do it. So, you know, it's just been a wild ride. So I definitely have kept a lot of things that I learned from FIU and just kind of made them my way, on my way through. Jay?
Kelly, can you, Kelly, I'm sorry, Gabby, can you explain what Spectrum News is?
Yes, absolutely. So Spectrum is basically like the Comcast of this side of Florida. So just pretend if Comcast or DirecTV had their version of news. So I hate to say this, but it's monopolized cable. So really the only cable you can get here is Spectrum. That's good because how we market ourselves is right when you turn on the TV, your DVR is set to every time you turn it on, it's already on Spectrum News. So we have become the #1 station for many, many years. I mean, we've had this station now for well over 30 years. It's the station that everybody knows. It's everyone's community station, which really helps. But so we have all of Spectrum in the Tampa market. There's all of Spectrum in Orlando. We have the cable in New York City. So we have Spectrum News over there as well, LA as well. So all of the major markets, as well as some small ones in between, have that monopolized cable. So that's where we come in. So it's basically the same if you were to say an ABC, NBC, it's just Spectrum Networks that's affiliated with cable, which as of late, it's been really nice because, you know, this election season wasn't necessarily the nicest. And people were like, oh, you're fake news. And I was like, no, like we're just the Wi-Fi company. So that helped me get out of some sticky situations. Not being affiliated with anybody. So it's worked out for me. But yeah, so we're Spectrum Networks and St. Pete, because we're the largest out of all of them, we're really the hub. So I've had opportunities to go live to all of our other Spectrum news stations for the Super Bowl, for example. So the day after the Bucks won, it's been an exciting time here in Tampa. But I had to do Super Bowl day, I had to do all the morning live shots on all the fun things to do in Tampa if you can't go inside the stadium, which is awesome. It was super fun. I was on a boat, super fun, my speed. But then I got a phone call right after all my live shots saying, hey, we need somebody to be the national reporter about the results after the game tomorrow morning. And I was like, okay, like what's tomorrow morning? They're like, well, the first live shot starts at 3 a.m. And I was like, so I missed the Super Bowl just to then talk about the Super Bowl and how the Bucks won and how it was so exciting and everybody was having so much fun, but I was dead asleep with like 4 sleeping pills in my system. But it was really cool. Like I did, you know, like it was probably like 25 live shots for around the country, whatever our other stations are around the country, just talking about it. So it's really fun. So I have a lot of really fun opportunities to branch out and do those kinds of things because it's Spectrum. So yeah.
Hello, a voice from the past. This is Professor Bustos. Gabby,
I love
good to see you. Jay and Kate, thank you for letting me know about Gabby's visit. I'm very excited to see you, a full-grown reporter. It's so nice.
Who
Guys,
would've
for the students who know, you heard she worked with Jay, but she also was in my class, and she was part of this like very energetic team. I remember like 4 classmates were all hanging together. I would call them. It's so funny because I remember texting them at night, guys, do you think that package is ready for your team? Oh yeah, prof, don't worry about it. So it's great to see you. I'm glad I was able to pop in. I actually have to go to a meeting, but wanted to say hi and
yes.
so proud. FIU is so proud of you and
thank you.
love
Thank
you.
you. No,
So
thank
glad.
you to you. I remember that class was so wonderful. It was with Shumo, God bless him. And you know, I remember so much from that class, and it's now near and dear to my heart. So I know you got a meeting, but thanks for coming.
Great to see you, and thank you, Kate and Jay. See you guys later. Have fun.
Isn't it fun to
Bye-bye.
see this wonderful, beautiful, mature woman now? I mean, it's just incredible.
Exactly.
No way. No way.
Yes.
I gotta do my taxes. That's I don't even know how to do that. So you're good.
So,
yeah, so go ahead, Jay.
no, another introduction is way before Gabby, way before Naomi, there was Alfred. And Alfred actually was my assistant for 11 years. He was a student of mine at Miami-Dade College, and he worked for me at Miami-Dade College. And when I started working at FIU, they were trying to figure out an assistant for me, which I didn't know why, but okay. And none of them fit the qualifications. And I said to the dean's secretary, can I just pick someone? And they said, yeah. And I called Alfred. I said, you want to work for me for FIU? And Alfred, I guess, you know, so Alfred's on the call here, right here, wait.
Hi guys. Hi Gabby.
Hi,
Good to
pal.
see you.
I miss you, pal. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Oh my gosh.
I have a question. Like,
yeah,
so
go ahead.
so you said like you're a part of Spectrum, and Spectrum's also in LA and New York. Would that make it easier for you or anyone in Spectrum here or in Tampa to just transfer to like LA or New York, or is it sort of like the same as everybody else? Where like, you know, you still gotta like, you know, like submit your reel and, you know, apply for the job or things like that.
Yeah, well, that's a good question, Alfred. First of all, I'm so happy to see you. The moment I saw your picture pop up, I was like, Alfred, and then you came up. So happy. It seems like no time has passed. So yes, technically it would be a little bit easier to transfer into one of those areas, but you know, they're big markets. Thankfully, mine is a pretty big market, and we are the hub nationally. So kind of being here gives me a little bit of a, you know, something. Who knows? I haven't tried applying somewhere else, but yes, you know, and generally speaking too, it would be easier to transfer within.
Right.
Even like in my old station, which was, even though a CBS affiliate, it was owned by Sinclair. I could have transferred within Sinclair a little bit easier had I stayed within. But yeah. So yeah, no, great question. Haven't tried it yet, but I know that's true because we just hired 2 girls out of Texas and North Carolina that worked at our Spectrum station, and it was a little bit of a different hiring process. So yeah.
Should we show your videos?
Oh no, not yet. Kate, you were muted.
I had a question. You know, to me, there's just a maturity about you. There's a difference in you that is so exciting to see. You were always a wonderful, gorgeous person. But I see you now, and I'm watching you and your poise and your presentation. And I could see you on any national show. I could see you as a host on the Today Show. I really could. And I wouldn't say that to anybody. What are your goals? Where you know, leapfrogging and life, and you said it correctly. You're prepared. You prepare for the luck that's going to come your way when you are prepared, and you've done a lot. Gotten a lot of experience. So what do you you know, what do you want to do next? Do you know?
So before I answer that question, Macmillan, all I can do is think about your class and how you asked us to ask questions during interviews, and you're doing the same thing that you taught me how to do, and now you're doing it on me. So I'm having like this mind blown moment for a minute. But to answer your question, I don't know what I want to do. You know what? And to be completely candid, being a reporter during Corona has been extremely difficult for general assignment reporters, especially for people like me who do everything on their own. And we've kind of already seen that trajectory within news, not even within just Spectrum News, but just on a national scale. A lot of people have been let go during Corona if you are not an MMJ. So longtime reporters, longtime photographers have been let go because they can get somebody brand spanking new that can do the job of 2-3 people for a much smaller salary. With that comes its own hurdles and difficulties. We're expected to do a lot of things and juggle so many things, wear so many hats. I'm not entirely sure if daily news is maybe something that I want to stay in for the rest of my life. So just like here in Tampa, the news is the same anywhere, because it's a big market. So we don't really have to be fishing, scraping the bottom of the barrel. What we cover here is just as much as what we cover in Miami. So for me to think saying, well, if I transfer to Miami, maybe have a photographer, maybe that'll be a little bit easier, which by the way, it's not. I'm used to doing my own thing. I have my own vision. I don't like sharing. So it's one of those things. So going to Miami, doing the same type of news that I'm doing here. It was fulfilling for a little while, but now we have this saying in the business just called feeding the beast. And all we're doing is just feeding the beast. Every day we wake up behind. We don't know what we're doing. We kind of attribute it to being like Indiana Jones, where he's running away from, that massive boulder going down the mountain. That is us every single day. That boulder is your career, your job, your bosses like demanding things from you, the stressors of every day, your deadline. And it's just been exhausting. So hopefully I can start working on maneuvering my way to maybe a more special projects, a little bit more of a storytelling kind of thing, maybe a longer format documentary style kind of conversation, which Spectrum News is actually working on too. So that's very helpful. But I really just want to start making an impact with more longer format stuff. There's only so much you can say in a minute and a half. Some things justify it, right? Like today I did a story about Anna Maria Island, which is a very famous beach here in Manatee County, what they're expecting for Easter weekend because they get jam-packed every single holiday. So it's like, is it going to be safe? Like Corona, all these people, like you can fit that in a minute and a half, no problem. But there's so many incredible people that I meet that I really feel like I can do them so much more justice if I just had another minute. And we learned to really condense.
No, I understand that. And wanting to do longer format, do you know where that, who's doing that?
So, there's a little bit of a mix right now. So news is somewhat trying to mirror what we're seeing online. So Spectrum News now has been working on doing longer format stuff that they can really push online since they know that that's where a lot of the news is going. So that's what they're trying to experiment on to even just ways to do longer format stories without a camera. I mean, what I have right now, this is where I edit in my home. This is all I need to do a story for a minute and a half. It's my phone and a GoPro that my parents got me for Christmas, which is the brand new one, which is super sweet because you can see yourself as you're shooting yourself. So that's super cool. But this is really all I need. So they're really trying to find ways to kind of be ahead of the curve and find ways to be as mobile as possible so you can kind of get in deep with certain situations and kind of really get in there with the nitty gritty. So they're doing that. But really, I mean, the people that are doing it the most are the online publications that we see that are really taking off. Vice is a wonderful example from that. I mean, other than Vice TV, I mean, I look at most of their stuff on YouTube or on Facebook or something, they have that longer format, a lot less constrictive that the news could tend to be.
Yeah, Vice.
So,
you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm looking at that stuff too. I'm not really knocking it. The one thing about being an MMJ, which isn't true, but it's true to me, is that you can literally almost do anything. Like, I have these crazy deadlines and I wake up every day not knowing what I'm going to do that day. And I can either be talking about a horrible casualty that happened, corona, manatees, some kid like selling lemonade off the side of the road to raise money for his sister who has cancer. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing that day, but I know that I can make it like the best I possibly can with the little amount of time that I can and make it compelling. So like, I feel like I have these transferable skills that I like to think, at least that's what my mom says I have. So I who knows what's next in store for me. I mean, I have a year left, and that's another thing with all the layoffs that's been happening. A lot of hiring freezes have happened too.
Yeah.
So because they're cutting down on staff, a lot of people are not rehiring. They're just keeping their small staff that have a lot of multi-skilled journalists.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But when I do, you will be the first one to know. I kind of just take it day by day.
You do hear when you talk about doctors, people going into medicine, that they have to specialize. And I'm just thinking, is there an area that you could be an expert in? I'm going too deep here because I'm so curious, and I just want to. I know there are people out there with other questions to you, but is there, are there specialties? You might want to think about that. Maybe it's too soon, but
yeah. Well, that's funny you say that, because I did kick off the Hispanic Heritage Month for our station. I did like this big old Hispanic video. And through that, I was able to do a couple food segments, oddly enough. And they were so well received that I was able to, and that wasn't like a me thing. That was just like another like lucky, I love food. I live for food. There is nothing I will do. Like food has to be in the equation for me to be excited, period. Now that you know that, when I did these food segments, I mean, we were talking about making pastelito de guayaba. We were talking about making picadillo, like all this Hispanic food that I was born with. Now I'm showing you how it's all done. It was so well received that now anytime there's anything food related, and not just like, here's the cheesiest taco in Tampa, like actually storytelling it, trying to find the character behind it so you get that connection. It's been me and I love it, so I feel so blessed, and that's certainly an avenue that I wouldn't attest to going down, because I do love food so much, and I think that could be something that we can kind of cultivate into just connecting people with more people, which I feel as though has been somewhat lost, especially over the past year. So
no, that sounds really good. That's there are some incredible good cooking shows on PBS that nobody your age watches anymore, but public television. And there is a woman who goes through Mexico and talks about the food there, and she's not my favorite, so take her job. There's something about
that lady, watch out.
It doesn't do it for me. So I could see that. I mean, and that's an interesting. I'm taking over here, but something that you care about that makes you glow and makes you happy. That is going to be your success, and because you have so much energy and intelligence, and you put that all into one topic that you can take and make your own. It's really exciting. So
This is like a this is your life. Emma, turn your camera on and say hi to Gabby.
Where is she?
She's down there, Paula Sanchez.
Oh, hi. How are you? Oh, she's muted. You're muted.
Sorry. I'm in Georgia.
Oh my God. Living your best life as always.
I told you I have to see her.
Oh my God, Emma, thank you so much. Fun fact that nobody ever asked for. Emma Emma's hairdresser gave me the first highlights I ever received in my life. So Emma always has a special place in my heart. Several highlights have been here since then, but you were the
I
first.
like it. I like it. I like it. I miss you. You
Oh,
look
I
great.
miss you too.
You look great. You look great.
Thank you. Thank you. I miss you. Say hi to your daughter for me.
Thank you. I will.
I
Keep it
enjoy.
up.
Emma works in our office in AC1 180, Academic and Career Success. So when you walk in there, it's the first smiling face that you see. So,
I try. I try. Now with a mask, forget it.
Oh, well, Emma, I miss you. Thank you for tuning in. I
Good
appreciate
seeing you. It's
Oh,
awesome story. It's awesome to see you. You're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Proud of you.
Thank you. Enjoy Georgia.
Thank you.
Good life. I wish I was in Georgia. Damn.
Thank you.
Abby, I'm going to throw a few more questions at you, and guys, if jump in,
Yes, please jump in. Whatever you want to know, I'm here to help you.
but
I just have questions too.
well, when Daryl Forges spoke with us, I had asked him, were you seeking out CNN or did they hit you up? And he said they came to him. So in your close to 4 years of doing this, have you been approached, especially in Tampa, by someone maybe seeing if you had any interest to working somewhere else?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I can't totally discuss who or whatnot because who knows how that goes down in the road. But absolutely, I mean, especially when you go into a bigger market, you don't know ever who's watching. And because we're also a 24-hour station, like people see my face all the time. So kind of what happens when you hear a 24-hour news cycle is, let's say for the 5 o'clock, the 5 o'clock is still playing right now. It's a brand new segment. That 5 o'clock is going to play every single hour. It's then recorded, play every single hour until 10 o'clock at night. So you're going to see the same package every hour at 5:45, 5:45, or 6:45, 7:45, 8:45. So we get a lot of exposure that way. But yeah, absolutely. Well, for the best example, my good friend, Izzy, who works at ABC Action News here in Tampa, will soon work for a network. I don't know if I can say yet, but a network, a huge one. She'll be working out of Washington, D.C., and she was sought out because she's bilingual. That's another fun fact too. So they don't want necessarily Caucasian people who can also speak Spanish. They're really trying, especially as of late with this whole issue with diversity and just making sure, and I hate to say this, but like check boxes need to be checked. We know that this is a visual business. So, she's a woman who's Cuban and speaks Spanish, and she's beautiful and she's extremely bright. So the network asked her and she got it. Opportunity of a lifetime. She wasn't expecting to leave anytime soon, but she got it, and there you go. So, it's just.
Are you fluent in Spanish?
I'm sorry?
Are you fluent in Spanish?
Yes, by virtue of living back home, because I don't live in the American part of Miami, McMillan. I live in the part where if at Publix, you have to go to the bathroom, you better know how to speak Spanish because that's the only way you're going to get there. So, yeah, and which has really helped me too. So, I mean, for my station, oddly enough, we don't really have that many Spanish speakers. We have me, another girl, and one guy. That's it. Now, this is a huge market, and we have so many reporters. To only have 3 Spanish speakers really gets you at an incredible advantage because I don't know if anyone's been to Tampa, but I'm Puerto Rican, so I can say this. This is a Puerto Rican mecca over here, and thousands upon thousands. I feel like if a Puerto Rican doesn't fit in Miami, they just go to Tampa, and that's where they call home. So that's where they're all at. And I've done so many stories, especially with issues with Hurricane Maria, with issues of corruption in Puerto Rico. Right. If it's a slow news day, what's Puerto Rican news? How do we attribute that to over here? What do the people here think of that? A lot of people have family over there. A lot of people help family over there. What are they saying? So we're really, at least I feel like I'm able to be at an advantage because I am bilingual. That I can really say some stories that my colleagues won't pitch because they can't speak the language.
Right.
So
It's a big opportunity. Big, big, big. And Puerto Rico is becoming bigger, bigger, bigger in the headlines every day.
oh yeah, and it's one of those things that it's like you're always trying to get a good story, right? And it's when you see that Puerto Rico is pushing to become a state, like that's a story, that's a cool story. Puerto Rico's huge, like in this area. 98% of my station will not pitch it because I'm sure there are plenty of Puerto Ricans that speak fluent English, no problem, but it's just the thought of them having to go into an area that they're not
Right.
comfortable in, because if they do come across someone who speaks Spanish, they're host. And when you're under deadline, you never want to be in a situation like that. So so it's really been a blessing in that regard. So yeah, but please come on, tell me any question, anything you want to know about this business. Doesn't have to be news. You want to talk about production, writing, being an AP, being a producer, EP. What do you want to know? I will help you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hi. So, I'm probably like one of the people that's not really interested in the TV side and
Sure.
the traditional news sense. So like real short, I want to work for the PGA Tour and kind of work on that side of things, and just a lot of like
we're here in Manatee and Lakewood Ranch.
Yeah. So I'm in the process of getting like PGA certified to open more doors, but just because like I'm probably, I guess like most of us here, like I'm in about to graduate with the grace of Professor J. But like you were talking about like the pitch meetings and stuff like that, but is there something that you would say that maybe school didn't prepare you for going into kind of like the more day-to-day cycle that you're doing?
So school gave me the support that I needed to push forward, gave me a good foundation for like editing, for asking questions, being inquisitive. But other than that, school gave me absolutely nothing. It was only until I got this job and got the internships that I got that really gave me an idea of what this job actually is. Even as an intern, I was like, oh, this is easy. Like, all you have to do is X, Y, and Z. I was in it. I was sitting with them doing it. But it's not until it's your butt that has the deadline that you have to ask the questions. It's an entirely different situation. So for you, in regards to pitching, what are you trying to do with pitching? Is it where to find stories? How exactly to find out what a story is to see if it's viable to pitch? What's kind of your goal with that?
Well, it's just for me. So like, I'm kind of, like I'd like to work for a brand inside the tour, but, specifically I'd like to work for the PGA, like working on just like, exposure essentially. Cause like from me playing as a junior, and I started playing golf at like 3 years old, they're terrible at, growing kids of the game and honestly just making it inclusive. So Tampa has like a really good program for the first tee, which is kind of like, getting kids involved with golf at the start and stuff like that. But like down here, just for the nature of year-round stuff, like it's one of like the best first tee program like chapters all through like Florida essentially, but no one knows anything about it, and like no one knows anything about like how they grow the game and stuff. So like the reason why I'm asking is because like I feel like, so I work in a golf program, basically I'm a golf manager down here for like Dick's Sporting Goods, and like I ask about like school stuff because like I get sometimes these like balances where I feel like I get more like that day exposure like at my jobs than what I do is sometimes like from a boat where like maybe like you kind of like took something that you learned in school but then just had to like flip it, totally reverse it, because maybe when you got into like a TV station or a spectrum, it was like totally opposite of what you were expecting.
And I have to apologize. You did cut out for a big portion of that. So other than that last portion, what was the first portion that you said? Other than, you said flip it and reverse it, and I thought of Missy Elliott for a second. I apologize. Oh. But then it went into, something in, are you trying to say, like, is there something in school that didn't pertain to the actual job or something that was completely different, or?
Yeah, so like my internet is horrible, but I was like, I'm wondering if like there's something that you were expecting coming out of school, going into like a traditional kind of like maybe kind of like at Spectrum that like didn't end up being the way you expected coming out of school, or if you kind of like just had to more learn on the fly type of style.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anybody out of school thinks that they can go to New York City. I mean, it's not anybody's fault, but even in my grade, like when I graduated FIU, I was surrounded by all these girls that were Instagram models, and they're like, when I get out of school, I want to be like Juliana Rancic. And it's like, okay, that's cool, but like, what are you doing to actively do that? You know, nothing against them. And some of them have done great things, but it's just, you always have an idea that you have a certain trajectory in your head, and then reality comes in. But just briefly before I miss it, you talking about a program that not a lot of people know about, I think that's a really great opportunity for you to link up with some other people who have a very similar passion and say that story. So in regards to sports, what I do know is that a lot of people are leaning towards personal stories with sports. Oh, puppy, understanding everything behind the sport. You know, that storytelling aspect. Who is the person behind the club? And I know that that's what a lot of our sports guys are doing. And that would be a really great opportunity for you too. And quite frankly, I think if that's something that you want to do, try doing those projects already, so that once you meet that person with PGA, all this is going to be done on your off time too, by the way. Like, don't expect to get paid for any of this stuff, so that you can, again, it's preparing so that you can get lucky when the opportunity arises, right? So if you say, hey, like I've done these little 3-minute segments of so-and-so talking about a program that nobody knows about, but it's incredibly impactful. Here's their story. Even if you don't become the videographer or whatever position you want to be in within PGA, they're going to bring you in because they know that you have soul. You know what I mean? They know that you have that drive. They know that you have heart, and you never entirely know where that's going to go down the line. I've known plenty of people that are like, oh yeah, I got this job because I did a mini series about something X, Y, and Z that was kind of related. So anything that you can do other than a resume builder, which by the way, what you're doing is great. I mean, you're already in it. Anything that you can do to kind of get yourself to the more production side, I would say just make small little segments of doing it. And you never have an idea of where that can lead. You know, they can say, oh, we needed a technical director for PGA and this guy does video. You know, that's how they think. It's like, well, like I shot the video, I edited the video, I wrote the video, I did all this other stuff. But like they want you to do technical directing because you did video. You know what I mean? So you never have an idea of what thing can lead to the next. So yeah, start doing that now. You know, I really encourage you to do that, because what else do you have to lose? You can say a story that needs to be told. And if anything, you post it on YouTube and see what happens. That'll give you something to always go to somebody about. You can always say like, hey, this is where I'm trying to go. I have these 2 really great people that do X, Y, and Z. You have no idea what they do, but they do golf and it's amazing. Please watch it. You know, it's already available for you here. You know, you give something tangible to them, or even just a QR or something that they can just find you and get it. And that's really the best thing for you to do. I got my job here because I posted a video on Facebook about hail in Gainesville. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that was kind of a little bit more along the line of what I was doing anyway, but just kind of do something, especially if you want to work behind the camera in production. We know most of our photographers do stuff outside of this. You know, they do weddings, they do even mini documentaries. So, you know, something along the line of what you want to do, emulate that so you have something to show them is probably my best advice to you. But it seems as though you're on the straight and narrow as of right now. So good job.
If I compile onto that a little bit, you know, where you're learning the 5 steps of persuasion now to do a promo, it's creating a need. And sometimes people don't understand how powerful video could be to their business. So again, you might have heard me use the expression corporate video, where, you know, working for a job doing production where that's not their main business. So again, the perfect example is go to Orlando, go to Disney, go in the hotels. How many in hotel channels do you see promoting stuff going on in Orlando? You know, someone came up with that idea that when you're in your hotel room, you know, you could do these videos. So sometimes you have to bring the idea to the table and do that. My first job in the cable industry, that's what it was. You know, it was like making the job for yourself when there's not a job there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, Jay, you're completely correct. So yeah. What other questions do you guys have? Ask me whatever you want.
Come on, guys. I know you've got some questions.
I know
Erica,
it's always the beginning.
Erica always has a question. Come on, Erica.
No, I definitely do have a question. I'm just trying to think of the best word or the best way to word it.
Just put it out there.
Okay, so I guess for somebody who doesn't have any real world experience with media in general, what would be the best way for somebody like that out of college to be employed? Because for me personally, just because I have a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, an internship for me hasn't been a real option, just because of everything else. But so I'm afraid of not being able to be employable, basically.
What do you want to do, Erica?
To be honest with you, I don't know anything specific. I know that it's not really news because that's not personally what I want to do.
Good.
But I do know
before it's too late. Yes.
Yeah, but I do know that I like photography and I like makeup artistry. Those are like my top two hobbies. So
Very nice.
I don't really know how that translates into a job, but so I guess that's my question.
Okay. Well, you know what? It's really going to be the same advice kind of that I did with Cody, you know. Do you have an Instagram right now where you show off like your unique makeup design?
I do. It's my personal Instagram. But I have stuff on my profile. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, you know what? I totally encourage you to make a business Instagram where that's all it is, you know? So if people want to find you, you have a total kind of website in a way, right? Because nobody looks at websites anymore. They look at your Instagram and see what you got. So make an Instagram like that and really, really push for that. You know, I'm trying to get better at social media, and I've really started looking at Instagram analytics, you know, how to get more viewers, how many posts do you need, how many reels do you need, and whatnot. This is all stuff that you can do from home, right? Like, this isn't something that an internship will teach you. This is something that you just need to sit down and apply yourself and have the mental fortitude to understand this crazy algorithm that we call the internet. So, you know, you don't need an internship to succeed. It helped me substantially because it was the field in which that I wanted, but because you're just trying to experiment and just figure out what you want, you can do a ton of stuff on your own, you know? So really do that, have that drive to really make it a mission to post on Instagram, to post, you know, on Facebook or whatever. Use the proper hashtags, use the proper, you know, even events, right? Like Sobe. You could have like this whole thing about Sobe wine and food inspired makeup. You know, you can have like the logo on your eyelid. Like, you can find so many ways to give you exposure about, and you're in Miami, like everyone's on Instagram and there's so many things going on all the time. So you can really use that to your advantage to market yourself in ways. So yeah, you know, do the photography. I know personal life can get so freaking sticky. I totally feel you with all that stuff. It was very difficult for me at some points to have internships because I was like, this is just too much. Like, I have too many things on my plate. I can't even, it's tough. I get it. But really take the time and force the time to do things that will better you. So whether or not it's, reaching out to a local photography place and just kind of explaining your situation, saying, hey, do you need an extra pair of hands for something? Can I help you with something? Even if it isn't clicking the button for photography, being there for them, you know, stockpiling whatever they need, just trying to find your way in the door, just so you can figure out and have a better idea of what you want, you know? So you can do it as much as you want by yourself, but then there's the business aspect to it, which also makes it very different. So, you know, I encourage you to do that too. There's tons of photography places in Miami that you can reach out to. And really, the hardest limitation that you have to get over is yourself. Because my thing is, oh, I can't do it because I have this person to take care of and this job to do and so or whatever. During Corona, I don't know if you guys know, like around the main campus at FIU very much, but my parents have the Smoothie King on 8th Street and 142nd. So that's, you know, there's the LA Fitness, there's a Starbucks, and then there's a Smoothie King. I was working at that Smoothie King every weekend of my Monday and Tuesday for 4 months during Corona. Every weekend, driving down after this crazy shift just so I can work for them every weekend for 4 months. Hey, because a lot of kids couldn't work. They were in high school and they were scared and they didn't want to work. You know, they didn't need to work. So they're like, hey, I don't want to work because it's a freaking pandemic. Everything is crazy. So my parents were working. I was like, well, I can't have my parents working. They're 60. So I worked, you know, my brother worked, and it was very difficult. So like, I get that, but like, you have to learn to force the time. Nothing is worse than leaving this shift to drive 3 hours to Miami just to put on a Smoothie King shirt and work. But I did it because I love my family. And you have to make sure that you put your career on the forefront, because you can only take care of them for so long until things on your side start falling apart. You know what I mean? So just do that. You know, put in a business account for your makeup, put in a business account for your photography, and then just start trying and find ways to do something within those fields. It's just, makeup is so hard to like do that. You can do that on your own. Work on photography, try and find studios and just ways that you can help. You know, even if it's just scheduling or something, just so you can see what they're doing. And if it appeases you, then you can start doing it, you know? So yeah, that's kind of like my advice to you. Literally, it's like such a Nike thing, but like, just do it and then just see what happens. Because that's how I got my thing, how I got my job.
You know, Gabby, or Erica, I think what you can hear from Gabby, and she doesn't really need a translator, but you know, believing in yourself. Mm-hmm. As she said, you have family, we all have responsibilities, but we had this conversation in a class this morning. It was a very emotional morning for all of us in this class. And we had to say, you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself. And once you come to that agreement, then you take care of yourself. You can take care of everybody after that. But if you don't love yourself and say you deserve, I'm going to take care of you too. And that's you. Mm-hmm. So that's what Gabby is saying. With all the family around you and all the love you have, you've had to learn to make sure you take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, McMillan. And just kind of piggybacking off of that, you know, it's not until I learned to love myself and put myself as the priority that I was able to better care for the people around me.
Right.
So sometimes you think, oh my God, if I do this, it's going to take away from my other responsibilities that I have to other people. But because you care about them anyway, it's just going to fall in line even better. So really put yourself as the priority, because you know, we're not in high school anymore, you know, like, it's not like, oh, I dream to be something one day. Like, no, like, the time is now. You know, you don't want to be 60, 70, 80 years old saying, oh, I wish I could have done this. You know, that's my biggest thing. Is I'm so happy I was able to do daily news. Is it something that I want to do forever? I don't know. I feel like God is kind of pushing my heart to go somewhere else, but at least I can say that I did it and that I'm doing a pretty good job doing it. So just do it now so that you don't have any regrets. And that kind of falls in line to helping the people around you too. Because when you take care of yourself, you can care for other people better.
And I want to piggyback in on that just a little bit in that, I know some of the suggestions that, Gabby's made. And then when Jean was here, they may sound like they're shot in the dark kind of suggestions, but you also have to look back, and I'm not like a, back in my day kind of a thing, but when Kate and I were youngins, you read the newspaper and you mailed in your resume and your cover letters, and there was just, they either got back to you or they didn't, and there wasn't really a whole lot more you can do other than, like in your case, for example, Erica, like, can you shadow, like go up to a photographer and go, hey, listen, I do makeup, if you ever need a makeup person, I'll do it, just kind of for the experience, blah, blah, blah. But now there are just so many ways to be seen, with social media and things. And yeah, it does sound like, like throwing darts with a blindfold on, and maybe they are, but the one person, I don't know if I told you guys this, but on the course website, there's a tutorial that Josh did, how to use the camera you guys are using. It's on my YouTube channel. I got a call a couple of weeks ago from a professor, or an email, who saw the video and wanted to know why I chose to use that camera. And it was like, wow, but it's for you guys, the video, you're the audience. I always disable the like button on YouTube because, like, let's face it, like, why wouldn't you like any video I do? But, but still, it's for you guys. It's specifically for you, but that guy saw it. This YouTube idea that, for class is because of an idea that a professor did at Columbus State University. So I do understand that when you're doing all the things that Gabby suggests, where it's like, is it really going to pay off? Well, I mean, it's just so many doors close in your face till the one opens. And, it's a lot of us, especially if we were good in high school or graduated number 2 in our graduating class in college, things like that. We're not used to that kind of rejection. My younger daughter, Rachel, is, she graduated in the top 10 in high school. She's a brainiac. She got an internship, in Hershey, Pennsylvania, to work at a hotel there. But when she gets a rejection, it's like, wow, I can't believe someone rejected me, and it's like, but get used to it, because that's just how it is. So you can't let that be a deterrent to you. You just have to keep plowing it, because it just takes one person to see it. And you can apply for jobs. You can, do all this stuff. Jean says, do a package a week. It's like, you have to be willing to do it. You just have to. And I always relate everything to running. And Kate and I were talking about this morning where, when that alarm rings at 4 o'clock on Saturday morning, it's like, I have no legitimate excuse to not get out of bed unless it's pouring. And even then I'll get out of bed. You just have to convince yourself you have no excuse not to put forth the effort, because yes, it's great to get a hookup, and it happens to a lot of people, but, and sometimes someone will give you a direction to go in, do this, do this, do this, do this. Look, I'm sure Gabby can tell you what websites, as well as Kate and I can, where you should look for jobs, like Mandy.com and Indeed and things like that, and get all accounts to that. Those are the obvious ones. And those, you can get a hit on those, but it's the little extra things where at the end of the day, what Gabby said about like the Instagram thing, it's like, wow, and I've, again, my younger daughter does computer kind of artwork, and someone hired her to do something for her just because she made a business account. It's not like what she wants to do, but you have to do it. And you just have to look at yourself and say, I have no legitimate excuse not to be doing this. Because if you're not willing to do it, and look, not knocking door to door, you're not going to the library and looking at all the different newspapers around the country, to see what jobs are available. These are things you just do at home and just figure out ways to be seen, you know, and you just have to do it. And if you're at it, it'll pay off.
And I mean, there's so many ways that you can take what last year has brought, you know, business owners have just been finding such ingenious ways to do so many creative videos and push out so much creative content in the comfort of their own home. You know, I mean, YouTubers and everything, makeup artists. I follow all these makeup artists. I know how to do one look and it's fading what I did this morning. So like, I look at all of them and I find them, you know, and they give so much inspiration and they do all of that at home. I mean, other than photography, and it depends what kind of photography you like, makeup, you can do that at home. You can do 10, 12 looks at home if you just dedicate the time to do it. You know, if you stop spending, which I'm not saying you do, but I spend about 3 hours on my phone, according to my phone, a day being on it. Some of that has to do with work, but a lot of it has to do with social media. You know, if I spent an hour working on a look, you know, and making sure I take a nice picture. And that's 2 in 1. You have photography, you know your right angles, you know the right lighting, you know the right, you know how to edit a photo to really make those colors pop. I mean, you can make those pictures look amazing on Instagram. So really do it. You know, you live in I didn't realize how special Miami was until I left. And you live in the best city that is so colorful and so open to so many different ideas. And you can certainly express that through makeup, and just do it. Just force yourself. You know, sometimes it's on top of that, you get so tired after taking care of everybody and doing all your personal stuff that you're like, oh, I just want to lay in bed and just watch some Netflix or like be with my dog and just be wrapped up in a blanket and call it a day because I earned it, which you do. But see if you can allocate some of that time to something that helps you for your future. You know, and that's really, I think, our biggest advice, just going off of what Jay and Kate said, is just allocating and forcing yourself to do that. That'll really help get the ball rolling, for sure.
Thank you to all 3 of you for your responses. And Gabby, I love your energy, and it's been really inspirational to hear from you. So thank you for everything. I really do appreciate the advice.
I'm here for whatever you want. Add me on Instagram. I will follow your business account or whatever account you give me. I will be
so nice, and you're super approachable. It's really comfortable to talk to you. So thank you.
Thank you. Erica, I am like you. I was in this class. Like, and it's so hard because Kelly and what'd you say, Daryl, you know, they can tell you whatever. I've been there. All right. I was in this class with you. If anybody understands the lack of resources that our poor and amazing journalism school has, it's me. I know it. You know, I work with kids. Kids, listen to me. They're all older than me. I'm the youngest person in my whole station too. Everyone else is like nearly 30. And I'm like, I'm turning 26. So, you know, it's a funny thing, but I'm working with people that like came out of these amazing journalism schools that had all of these incredible opportunities out of Syracuse, you know, $60,000 to go to Syracuse a year. Okay. And they had every single thing handed to them while they're getting paid the same amount that I'm getting paid. They're getting the same jobs that I'm getting, you know? So don't put a limitation on yourself and your circumstances, because like we said, you know, the more you prepare, the luckier you get. And it's a funny way to think about it, but I mean, that's kind of just how my life was.
And by the way, when I hired Gabby, I offered her the job and she goes, you know, I've never had a job before.
Yeah, because I just worked for my parents.
Right. And it was funny. Like, yeah, she's like, yeah, you know, you can get paid, Gabby. You can work for me. It's like,
yeah, no, I mean, because, you know, my parents opened up the Smoothie King when I was 12. So that's where I worked. I was homeschooled my whole life. So I worked in the back. And especially when the recession hit, when I was, you know, in late middle school, late high school, I'd be sitting in the back doing school. And then when a guest comes in, I'd go do the smoothie, then come back and do work. So like, that was kind of my life. You know, I went to, I did electives in G. Holmes Braddock, since that's where I kind of like live around. Go Bulldogs.
And so yeah, Jay was my first job, and best job.
I think one of your first videos in my class was a story about the shop, the smoothie store.
Yeah, it was. I was trying. So it's funny. I found my laptop that I had at FIU. This little MacBook Air that I like literally begged my parents for to give me an Apple because Jay gave crap to everyone who didn't have an Apple. And I was like, I need an Apple because this is what we need to succeed. My parents scrounged what they had to give me a little MacBook Air. And I just found it. And I'm looking at all of my old stuff and I'm just like, blah, blah, everything's trash, blah, blah. But I was trying to find the video. I have just bits and pieces of the stuff that I did in your class, Kate. And I just remember doing a stand-up, like holding a smoothie. And it was like talking to the camera, like right here. And I'm holding the smoothie and I'm like taking a sip or no, she gives me the smoothie. I grab it. I say something. I give her the money and then I sip. Like it was very systematic on how I did that stand up. And it was the corniest thing. But when it played, everyone was like, oh my God, it was so funny. It was so silly, but yeah, I had some really great memories, man, with you guys. It was so awesome. I wish, oh my God. Now, if you can prolong staying in school, I also don't not knock it because the real world is horrible. There's a lot of responsibilities when you leave the house, and I didn't realize that since I never left Miami until Gainesville. So, but other than that, it's just been an incredible journey. And really, like, if you don't know what to ask me now, Jay, please give out, even my cell phone number. I really don't care. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you. And I feel like the biggest thing that I had in FIU was we didn't really have this speaker stuff. So it was just trying to find somebody that's willing to listen and trying to find someone that's just willing to help. And sometimes, I had great people, obviously 2 of the most amazing professors in FIU, but it's really easy to feel alone because they're your professors. Like, they have a certain space in your head for that relationship. And then you have a certain space in your head for somebody that you want help from. So I'm open to helping you. That's what I'm here for because I certainly could have needed some of this if I had it at FIU. So I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm here for your success. Even if it's not in news, I know production, I know video, I know stuff, just by virtue of being in this business, I meet a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life. So any way that I can help and just give you some encouragement to keep moving forward, that's what I'm here for.
And you never know, Gabby. It was an intern of mine in
Okay, keep talking. This is Gabby's crowning achievement right here, by the way. Hang on a second.
Oh,
gosh.
There we go.
Oh no. Hey, do you know I had the flu?
Yes. I remember. I remember how much complaining you did that day.
Oh my God, I was so sick.
But I got to tell you, the story behind the 12 Miles of Christmas is that I did it the year before, and Gabby just dogged me for a year with my stand-up.
Do you know how horrible it was, Jay, to edit you saying, well, I don't know, maybe 12 miles? I was nah, we got to change this. At least, not like I was any better, but like at least it was a different person.
Yeah, no, so I said, okay, well, you do it next year.
You do it. And I was like, fine. So we did at 4:00 in the morning going over there. Oh, it was so fun. And with Alfred, it was such a good time. And then we got shoes out of it. I haven't purchased sneakers since then, by the way. I still have the Asics that we got out of it, the 2 pairs of Asics that are super fire. That's still what I use for my job. Even those are like my go-to shoes. So keep it in tip-top shape.
Gabby, what's a story that you'd like to share with a package or something you've done that you want to share?
And while you do that, I'm going to show one more picture.
Oh, look. So what you don't see in that picture is in the top of my cap, so long story short, I was briefly a part of a sorority at FIU. And then I got out of it because I thought I was going to do something else with my life, but I ended up staying there. I don't know. But like, so I had following all of these sorority girls, God bless them. They're so creative. And they like had all these pictures of what they were doing with their caps, flowers, beads, all this stuff. And I was like, I don't prepare for any of this. So same day, graduation day, I go to my computer and I type up so ... put that on the top part of the cap. And then I put now what ? And I tape it on the cap. It was the most ratchet looking thing ever. But it literally was me. Like I just prepare, but I also like don't know where my life is going to go. I have like an idea, you know, and I mean, anybody can tell you that were my classmates like, oh, Gabby, she really wants to be a reporter, yada, yada. But like, I didn't entirely know what I was doing half of the time. I still don't know what I'm doing half of the time, but you know, you just got to keep working and hoping something sticks, I guess. So, Jay, I think the video that I think we can play is, I don't remember if it was the first one, but I guess the Hispanic heritage one, because it was really fun. And that's something that a lot of people can relate to. So this is what I mentioned when I was doing the kickoff for Hispanic Heritage Month. It's just to briefly talk about being a Hispanic in Tampa. I'm a Hispanic, obviously, Cuban, Puerto Rican. And then kind of what Tampa has to offer. So with this story, I had a photographer with me. However, I had to edit the whole thing by myself, which is a pretty big deal considering that this was like a special project. This was sponsored by a company, some law firm, I forgot. But you know, this is like the kickoff for Hispanic Heritage Month. It had a graphic, it had this big old thing, dun, 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 and then it's like me coming out. So like no pressure, but it was a lot of pressure. So you can show them that.
Okay.
There it is. And you can hear it, right?
What does it mean to be Hispanic? Is it our dance moves or knowing our roots, no matter where we're from?
Things that I have accomplished here, I not even dreamed in back in my country.
Para mí eso es ser un orgullo ser cubana, a pesar de que vivo en Estados Unidos y mis raíces siguen dentro de mí.
You don't have to travel far to get a taste of Latin spice. We may all speak Spanish, but no two countries are alike.
A lot of people from Venezuela, Colombia, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico, like you name it, they are here.
Passion runs through our veins, and you can especially see it around Ybor, from the way we roll our cigars to the food that feeds the soul.
Pues tú aquí tienes las oportunidades de tener todo lo que tú quieras.
Odelma Matos' hands may look glamorous, but she's rolled hundreds of thousands of cigars since she was 15 years old back in Cuba. Door after door, you'll find first-generation immigrants here.
I'm really proud of being Hispanic and being, having the possibility to execute my dreams here.
Many of our families came to this country with nothing, yet fought wearing the armor of hope to one day living the American dream.
It's important because we are honoring who we are and why we are here.
You see, Hispanic Heritage Month is not just about the names we read in history books, but the mothers, fathers, grandparents that overcame adversity and made something great.
Everyone loves our music, our food, so why not to celebrate it?
You're already part of La Familia, and we can't wait for you to celebrate this month with us. Gabby Arzola, Spectrum, Bay News 9.
There's a lot.
God. You're muted.
Those are just one of those things that I had a lot of time to work on. When I say a lot of time, I mean like 2 days. So, you know, to kind of put things into perspective on how fast things have to turn. But, you know, that was just something that was very special to me. You know, I felt like I was able to bring a little bit of Miami to it. I feel like you can take a girl out of Miami, but, you know, I'm known as like being the super Miami girl every time in the office. So yeah, you know, those are one of those, this is like the perfect situation where like you have an idea in your head, and I came in with this with somewhat of an idea because of all the Miami news I'd watch. You know, it's like very flashy and here and there and everywhere. I picked out the song. I was like, oh, I know what I'm gonna say. And then when we go, you know, things go wrong, right? Like the mic blew out, and the last interview, that was the very last interview that we had, mic blew out. We didn't notice until we got back home because it still showed levels. So it's like, you know, certain videos or whatnot like were corrupted and didn't work. So you always just have to just take it as you go and still push something forward. You know, we're always dealing with some kind of mess every day. Like I said, you're always running against the big boulder, because so many things go wrong in news, and then you'll never tell, because at 5 o'clock you see somebody standing there and they sound so knowledgeable. Meanwhile, the whole day fell apart and you had no idea, and that's just the way it rolls. So that's a very special package for me. I really like showing that to some folks because it makes me smile.
And you had a lot of good responses to that? Is that what
I did. Yeah. All of Spectrum really saw that and just was kind of like, wow, you know, like I said, we don't really have a ton of diversity in my particular station, which is rare. Other stations are pretty good with that. But you know, you have all these American folks that live amongst their Americanized societies, and then they see something loud and colorful and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So I got a really, really great response out of that, which is the whole goal, right? I mean, if there's anything about being Hispanic, it's just about showing just a whole different colorful side of life. So yeah, so it was a lot of fun to put together. I dreamt about that story like every single day since then, because I just spent, like I said, 2 days. It was 2 days. I had like a month, and it was something weird. It wasn't like a Monday and a Tuesday. I had like a Monday 1 week, and then 2 weeks later, I had a Thursday to work on it. And it's like, oh, you know, you have like all this momentum right when you're done shooting, you're like ready to do it all. And then you have something else to do. So then that kind of goes to a different part of your brain. And then you go on a Monday randomly, like a few days later, like, okay, time to work on it. Now you have all this footage that you forgot that you took just to put it together on your own. And there's like not a lot of oversight. It isn't like Jay or McMillan like looking over you saying like, how's it going? Or looking over what you have. Like, no, like they saw that package. What you saw is what they saw. And the only other conversation they had with me was, hey, you're doing Hispanic Heritage Month. Mm-hmm. That's it. You know, there's very little oversight because, and that's another thing. When you're in market, sorry, Ziggy, when you're in market 11, you're expected to know what to do. Yeah. No one needs to hold your hand. No one needs to, you know, you guys have a day to rough cut. That's 10 minutes for me. You know, you guys have a day to do the whole production. That is an hour for me. You know, you don't have a lot of time to mess up, and you don't have a lot of time to make it pretty. So you just have to make sure, which just comes with time, you know, making it as best as you can, as fast as you can, throwing it together as fast as you can, as best as you can. So, but it's a good time. I have a good time here. I miss home. Miss you guys.
Gabby, I'm going to officially end the recording because class is over.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. But if you do want to stick around, if anyone wants to ask you any more questions, you know, the after party is always available. And hopefully you will come back again this summer. I'll invite you again.
Yeah, I'm down.
I know the class enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed it. So again, I'm going to stop recording, put it, and it will be available on YouTube.
Awesome. Awesome.